breaking news is there will be no change from LSAC.
Welcome to an emergency episode of the 7 Sage podcast. Me and Ethan in the war room, bringing you breaking news. Ethan, LSAC came out with an announcement. What did they say?
Yes. So they have announced that the rule they were going to change 2 weeks ago, they're no longer going to change. So they are breaking news is there will be no change from LSAC.
Yeah.
What exactly are we talking about? We're talking about 2 weeks ago, LSAC said they were going to change the rules by which they count or do not count the credits you may have taken in high school that are college credits. So dual enrollment credits. They were flirting with not counting them in your GPA calculation. The reason why that would have mattered is a lot of people took dual enrollment credits when they were 14, 15. They didn't do so well in them. And then those were actually hurting their law school chances because it would bring down the LSAC calculation of your GPA. They announced 2 weeks ago they were going to stop doing that. Now they've reversed course. They say this is too big of a change and they need to wait a year in order to actually do this change. So the people who thought they were going to benefit from this are no longer going to benefit from it. The people who thought they might not benefit from it because they had good dual enrollment credits will kind of benefit because the rule won't be changing. And the grand majority of people who don't have many dual enrollment credits nothing will happen.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So the official announcement sent out today says after, I'll just read the first paragraph. Last month, we announced that effective July 28th, LSAC would no longer include grades from college level courses completed while a candidate was in high school, often referred to as dual enrollment, in the LSAC GPA calculation. After careful review, we have decided to... maybe the careful review should have taken place before the announcement.
I think the careful review was freaked out emails from high applicants.
Yeah. And perhaps law schools, maybe? I don't know. After careful review, we've decided to delay implementation of the policy until summer 2027, enabling candidates in law schools to adjust to the new policy.
I guess the nuance is that they probably don't want to recalculate your GPA, so they will just calculate it when you request your CAS report, which is something you have to do if you're applying to law school. So there might be some decision where if you request your CAS report now, or maybe even in like May of next year, don't quote me on that, just stay informed from LSAC. But if you request your report before the change, your high school grades will be included. If you request it after the change, they won't be included. However, we don't know if they're going to have a recalculation policy, if they're going to mandate recalculation or not. And honestly, we don't know that they're going to actually go through with this next year, given that they changed their minds on it this year.
Sure. So basically, and we'll get into who this affects in a little bit more granular detail in a sec. But basically, I guess one question is, do you have to recalculate your CAS if you haven't taken any classes? Like if I get my CAS report, if I get it today, and then I don't do any school between now and next year, or now and 2 years from now, do I have to get a new CAS report? I'm guessing no.
So I know that the CAS subscription lasts a year. However, I believe nothing is recalculated unless something would trigger recalculation, like a school sending additional transcripts.
Okay. So everyone should probably verify all this information because there are certain questions that this raises that we just don't fully know the answer to yet. But yeah, so it sounds like if you have a CAS report now, it will last a year. So yeah. Okay. In the email, it says, we heard a lot of support for the policy change, but we also heard concerns. I'm sure they were getting a lot of love letters. I'm sure both the support and concerns were equally as loud. Bottom line is, it's not going to affect too many people. But Ethan, given this change, like who does it affect? Like is there anyone who should definitely apply now or definitely apply next year?
Yeah, so I've spoken actually to a few people who were very happy with this change because it seemed like their GPA was going to go up above the medians for their target schools where it was going to be below it. So this is like the person who is affected. The person who has kind of B's, C's, D's from dual enrollment. They thought they were going to get those off their CAS report this year. That person is now impacted. It's possible that if you thought your GPA with the change was going to go from like a 3.5 to like a 3.8, that maybe you could consider waiting a year and applying with a stronger GPA. But again, we don't know that this change will actually happen in a year. So it's hard for me to officially recommend that. And of course, whether or not you should be waiting a year would also depend on your LSAT plans and your life plans.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is like this is everything else, all else being equal. There are some people where maybe their GPA will go up or down, but there's probably greater considerations to be, there's more important things to take into consideration between applying this cycle and next cycle. So it shouldn't be the only determining thing. It's not like, okay, like you have to look at the whole picture. But yeah, potentially if your GPA is impacted positively by this change, you'd want to wait. And if it's impacted negatively by this change, you'd want to apply this cycle. But that is, we're talking about a year. So, also something to take into consideration. Anything else we want to touch on with this change?
I don't think so. I mean, this kind of change we understand is really frustrating for anyone it might impact.
Yeah.
So we were definitely not happy when we saw it because it's just going to create more confusion. But if you're listening to this, it's also 80% chance that it doesn't impact you one way or the other. So,
yeah. Good news. It probably doesn't matter. Anyways, thanks for joining us on this very special breaking news edition of the 7th Sage podcast. We'll be back with you on our normal time on Monday. Bye-bye.